Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. I'm posting this in our group in Sanse, Espiritismo y la 21 División. As I said in another post, what's your number one question about our spiritual practices? This post right here is going to answer someone's question that was in the comments. Let me get some water, like some people get on here. So I'm going to be answering this question that was posted in the group. What's your number one question about our spiritual practices? In which I gave everyone opportunity to put down their number one question. I'll be doing a few of these. These are not going to be that long. They're going to be kind of short. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. And we're going to be addressing the questions that people have here about, could you tell me more the difference between some branches of 21 divisions that identify as Vodou and other branches that don't? The branches that don't often also call the spirits Lwa, beings of light, and Misterios. What is the difference, if any, regarding the spirits? How did this come about? I've heard some say that some branches of the 21 divisions are influenced by Lukumi or Santeria. Is that true for all branches that don't identify as Vodou? Do all branches of Sanse identify as Vodou? Thank you. So that was the question. Hi everyone. Hi Lara. Share the video, share the live. I don't know exactly how this one works because I'm posting it directly into our group. So that's what I'm covering here today, is this question that we have. So let's start off with the foundation of the question. Right? These traditions, hi Jason, hi everyone. These traditions are known via experience and through practicing them and through going to group rituals and participating and making an effort to participate. A lot of things you can only sort of understand if you haven't really been around it going on and going on in a communal way as much. So, some first is foremost is words. What's in words? And what you have to understand is how a lot of the practitioners in of the ancestors, and how many of the ancestors, how many of those people, and what did they feel towards certain words, or what were they taught about certain words. So I'm gonna see, I don't know if I can, how I share this. I don't think I can like that, I don't know. So about certain words, and words had a different connotation then than they do now. And that's the same thing like many other things, right? And so at one time, saying certain things was not acceptable, whereas now it's a lot more acceptable to say a lot more different things and be a lot more open than things were before. So, with that being said, what we have to understand is the way of the ancestors and how they understood the word Vodou or voodoo. For a lot of the ancestors who practiced Sanse or 21 divisions, that word held a very heavy negative weight because because that word was associated with black magic, was associated with doing evil, got people imprisoned, right? Would make people a victim of attack and a center stage for attack. And it actually still does till this day. And in a lot of places, that word was almost used synonymously with the word with like black magic. And so there's a lot of practices that really have a lot of voodoo in them that it's now, right, in this current time, and the brujos that are now, that we're acknowledging that, and that we're working and slowly washing away the stigma that comes with the word Vodou, voodoo, etc. And it's really us now who's changing the whole perception of that word. Okay? Blessings to you, blessings to everyone here. Okay, so we're in the process of changing the stigmas that are held with that word, right? And one of the things that it is that us in this current time and where we're at with the world and its interconnectivity, right? And the way people's minds have shifted has been in a more inclusive way, in a very beautiful way, okay, in which we're really looking at the roots of our practices and really understanding them and understanding kind of like all the various elements that went into creating various stigmas on those words, okay? And so those stigmas on those words, right, have held a lot of weight and created a lot of fear. And so a lot of branches, although they may not outwardly identify themselves as practicing Vodou or Voodoo, that's what it is, right? And and like I said, some of that is being changed now, and some of the ancestors as well help to plant those seeds and lay those seeds for us to be able to shift and change that, right? But still, in popular culture, even till this day, in many ways, I've seen it all over TV. Like it's all over the Oprah channel and shit like that, right? Where our practices get washed away, right? And they get whitewashed and they get changed in a way to make them acceptable for more people, right? And then they don't want to use the word Vodou or voodoo because it still actually carries that very heavy stigma. So, what people don't realize though is that in voodoo there's a lot of secrets. And voodoo is the secrets to life. And people don't understand that voodoo and this voodoo is about the spirit, and the spirit is everywhere, and voodoo is life. Voodoo is about life, and it's actually the ancient secret tech. It's the knowledge, the wisdom, the connaissance to create change. Connaissance is the wisdom, and the wisdom to create change in life in a way that's conducive to life and making life really function and work, right? And a lot of people try to reduce the voodoo or vodou into less than what it is. So that's number one. Number two is the difference is not in the spirits themselves, it's how the spirits are worked with. Oh, I love you too. It's how the spirits are worked with and how they're dealt with that's differently. It's the worldview, the approach to the world that's dealt with differently. They're not different spirits, it's different elevations or different. I don't want to use the words elevations because that creates the wrong idea in your mind because you think in this way, right? It's different ways of working with the spirits in which various practices have been developed. They all are amongst that same tree. They all belong to that same tree, but those practices develop differently, right? The spirits themselves shift with who they're working with, right? You have to shift with the vessel that you're using, right? You can't work against what is. That's one of the things the spirits actually teach us, but a lot of people never grasp, right? I'm teaching you something real big there. A lot of people don't grasp that, right? Even the spirits themselves change strategy and move differently depending on basically how the weather is that day in life in the world. People want to get stuck, but you can't get, if you start to really learn from the spirits and really start to learn from, the practices that we do and go in deep, then you can find the secrets to life, right? And yeah, there is some influence from Lukumi because there was a Cuban influence that came into the Dominican Republic and into Sanse as well, because in Puerto Rico there was a big influence of Lukumi and Santeria that came in through the Cuban influence, through Cuban refugees that came into the island of Puerto Rico, even way more than in the Dominican Republic. And to some degree, there were Cuban refugees in the Dominican Republic. So you have that Lucumi and that Santeria influence, and some things that tie the practices together in various ways, but there's more differences there than there are similarities, right? So there's more differences between, let's say, Lukumi practices and 21 divisions practices, or Santeria, Lukumi Santeria, however you choose to know it as, okay? And 21 divisions practices and Sanse practices. So, and Vodou practices, okay? So these are different lines of things. And yes, it's true that not all branches identify as voodoo, okay? Nor do all branches of Sanse will they outwardly identify themselves as voodoo, but voodoo is voodoo, okay? If you understand what is voodoo, then you're gonna understand that even though one doesn't identify as something, doesn't mean that's not what one is, okay? One could choose not to accept or identify that they are something, right? But that doesn't change the fact that they are that. I saw a comedy show where basically it was called Little Miss Jocelyn, where she goes around and she's like, she doesn't want to accept that she's black, and so she pretends to be white and she thinks everyone else is convinced, right? And so she hushes people, and it's a comedy, right? So it doesn't matter as far as one's total identification. One has to understand one's roots. And so, little by little, that has shifted and that has changed with our influence, right? And our knowledge and our growth. That's one of the things about life, is that life is a constant and a regular growth. So that's that first question that we had on this question here in this group. What's your number one question about our spiritual practices, right? And thank you for the question. We're gonna share this, post this up, and then shortly in some time I'll be back on here to answer one of these other questions and go through the list of what we have going on here. So many blessings to all of you. Wishing that you have a great 2021. It's been awesome so far. And we're only on the third though, right? So, but it can be even better. So many blessings to all of you, and we'll speak soon. And I'll be adding this probably onto YouTube and everything else. So, click subscribe over there. Over on the website, hectorsalva.com, you'll find our newsletter, you'll find all kinds of stuff. Check that out. And yeah, share the video, and go from there. Keep the faith, all of you, and many blessings.